Alright guys, your ticket to Diamond today is the ancient king of top lane, Renekton. It seems that every season Renekton is bouncing in and out of the meta with a different build path. A couple of seasons ago it was Black Cleaver into full tank. In season 9 it was Black Cleaver into Spear of Sojin, and this season with the recent changes to Bork, most high elo Renekton players have been building that into Black Cleaver and then into the reworked Death Stance as well. He's just a very versatile champion regardless of what season it is, and he's pretty much always viable. If you're looking for a consistent way to pressure and win your lane in low elo games, then Renekton is the champion for you. He has great kill potential in lane and some crazy carry potential when he gets his core items. He is a bruiser that can soak damage, but with his current meta build, he can one-shot any squishy player on the other team. We're going to start with Renekton's weaknesses that you know how to play around them and avoid the weak situations that he is in so that you can exploit his massive strength for easy wins. But before that, go ahead and smash the like button for the YouTube algorithm and subscribe if you're new. It is a statistical fact that if you smash the like button on my videos, your win rate will go up by 10%. Don't ask me, it's true. Also, I stream a couple nights a week, so if you want to come ask me more specific questions or watch me play live, the link is also in the description below. Renekton's first weakness is that he is weak without his Fury. He has a Fury bar that he stacks by hitting minions, monsters, or champions, and when he has over half of his Fury bar full, it turns red and allows his next ability to be empowered. Each ability has an added bonus when used with Fury. For example, his empowered Q deals additional damage and increases the total healing by 200%, and the healing cap maxes out at 300%. His empowered W destroys damage mitigating shields on the target before striking them 3 times, dealing 50% bonus damage and increasing the stun duration to 1.5 seconds. His empowered W is so strong because it also instantly procs press the attack, adding even more to the damage. It increases the stun duration, allowing you to easily fit in more autos as well as your other abilities, and if you time it correctly, can get rid of big shields on all champions. Most notably Set, who is my favorite champion to play against as Renekton, because Set players don't think it's a counter because they rarely play against a good Renekton that's patient enough with their W to make it a painful matchup for Set when he loses his shield. Renekton's empowered E isn't as fun as his other abilities, but it does extra damage and reduces armor, which is always nice. His empowered Slice and Dice deals additional damage to all enemies and also reduces their armor for 4 seconds. And to help Renekton get these empowered abilities, his ultimate actively generates Fury. When he uses his ultimate, he generates 5 Fury a second, up to a max of 75. Also, whenever Renekton is below 50% of his Fury bar, his abilities also help him stack it. So, if you're desperate to get your empowered stun off, you can use your Q or E to get that Fury, then use it on your W to get the empowered longer stun, because your Q and your E helped you stack the Fury so that you get that empowered W off. Now, I know this was all supposed to be why he is weak without Fury, but I hope you get my point. Without Fury, Renekton's abilities are pretty meh, and you need to be watching your Fury bar to make sure you are getting the most out of your trades and your fights. This leads us into Renekton's next weakness, and that's that he's pretty useless without his ultimate. His ultimate gives him HP and generates 20 Fury instantly and more over time. This means that his ultimate makes him a very strong dueling champion because he becomes tankier and is able to use more of his empowered abilities in fights. It is hard to all in or fight with your team without your ultimate because you don't have much to offer after your initial spell rotation. So you need to make sure that you can take advantageous fights around your ultimate cooldown, otherwise you're gonna kind of be useless. The last weakness I want to highlight on Renekton is that he's very susceptible to champions that can kite him easily like Ashe and Vayne, and this gets even worse when playing against a team with heavy peel like Janna, Ivern, and Lulu. This ties in with Renekton's reliability on his ultimate as well as his flash. If you are ahead with PTA, you can, with your ultimate and flash, get onto a carry and pretty much one-shot them with your full combo. But if you have neither of those, especially if you don't have flash, you are very susceptible to being hard kited, and let me just tell you, it feels so bad. Like when they're running away from you and killing you and you can't run or hit them, it's just the worst feeling. This is why some high elo Renekton mains will take Ghost, but we'll talk about that a little later. Alright, now let's talk about some of Renekton's strengths, and there's a lot of them. The first is that Renekton is just great in pretty much all team comps. He can counter tanks, he can counter squishy champions. He's overall a lane bully that can get ahead in most matchups. Even in ranged matchups when he should be behind, if you itemize correctly, you can still come out on top and even do more in team fights. Also, an added bonus for those of you who hate Yasuo is that Renekton is a common counter to Yasuo, even in the mid lane. As Yasuo, I have won this matchup before because I was against a bad Renekton, so just know that counter picks are not everything, but they do help a lot. And so if you just want an easy pick to counter Yasuo, pick Renekton, you'll do just fine. Another thing I love about Renekton is that he has a strong 2v1 potential with his ultimate in lane. There have been a lot of times when I'm getting ganked and I turn on my ultimate and my W and use all my abilities to delete the enemy jungler and then go on to kill the enemy laner at the same time because now they're overextended in lane. This has to be one of the most tilting things for the enemy team and has allowed me to get a lot of leads in my games. There are also some changes recently in the top lane with itemization and just the way the game is played that have benefited Renekton. For example, the Blade of the Ruined King changes makes it super good to use on Renekton because it allows him to trade with and kill ranged champions that would normally bully him. Also, Death's Dance is just an incredible item on him, especially when he uses his ultimate. He can kind of just tank even more than he would normally be able to. Also, with the era of teleport and now not being able to cancel it anymore, you can set up a lot of good fights if your enemy teleports in a spot that they shouldn't be. You can take other summoner spells like Ghost or Ignite depending on the matchup. Like into Vladimir, I think Ignite is a great take. And also Ghost can be used to counter the high peel champions that we had talked about earlier and allows you to just be a little bit more sticky in fights when you would usually just get peeled and kited, and we don't want to talk about that. It actually just feels so bad. All right, 3 tips on how to carry your games. Number 1, use his incredible strength in lane to get a lead. If you're not getting consistent CS leads and even kill leads in lanes in your game, you need to learn how to lane better because this is one of the best advantages that Renekton can help give you in a game. Once you figure out how to get good results in lane, which you can transfer into the later stages of the game, then you want to take fights with your team when you have flash and your ultimate up. Generally, you want to play around with item power spikes as well, but generally, if you have flash and your ultimate up, you'll be way more useful in a fight than if you have neither, because then you're kind of just this running crocodile who isn't very scary. You're not fooling anybody. You're not doing much in that fight. If you don't have either of these abilities up, you want to use that time to farm and get XP. This allows you to stay relevant in the game and also apply pressure to the rest of the map. So make sure if you don't have either of these up, or if people aren't fighting, make sure you are farming something, whether it's a jungle camp or a side lane wave, whatever it is. Make sure you're consistently getting that experience. The last one is to look for good TP flanks. Renekton has to be one of the best flankers in the game. The reason for this is that if there's a squishy on the back line, he can instantly one-shot them. Another champion that I love flanking with is Maokai, but Maokai doesn't have a lot of kill potential whenever he's flanking. He just has a ton of CC and can be super annoying, but Renekton can wipe out the back line if he isn't dealt with and can really sandwich the other team in a solid fight. So you're going to want to make sure that you're looking for those wards and asking your team to place wards in advantageous spots for you to TP to. All right, for summoner spells, runes, build, skill order, all that housekeeping stuff. For summoner spells, you're taking flash, obviously, and then you either want to take Ghost or Ignite or Teleport. In games where you're against a bunch of ranged champions, you can think about taking Ghost because it'll allow you to stick to them a little bit better, but generally Teleport is probably what you want to do. Also for runes, you're going to be going PTA and Last Stand for sure. Those are the ones that actually matter. All right, for your builds, your core build is going to be Blade of the Ruined King, into Black Cleaver, into Death's Dance. Now, obviously, you want to change up your build depending on who you're playing against, what the biggest threats are, but traditionally, this is the build path you are going to follow. Also know that you can go into Last Whisper, Mortal Reminder for the anti-healing, as well as GA and Sterix for more of your health tanky items. For your skill order, in melee matchups, you're going to want to start with W because you can instantly press the attack if you have an empowered W, and it just allows you to get off some good easy trades. Then you're going to want to go into E or Q based on the matchup, and then max Q into E into W. I've seen a lot of Renektons max W when you should indeed be maxing E instead. Don't ask me why, it's just what people do and it makes more sense because your dash is up more and you need it to close gaps, and just do E. It shreds more armor, it's worth it. As always, this has been Snowda. Thank you so much for watching and I will see you in the next video.